and I'm really hoping that you guys can hear me. So hi to Anna, hi to all of the American Countess patrons. This live is happening first on American Countess Patron, and then it will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, do consider becoming an American Countess founding member patron. It's fun, it's an amazing community, and you get these live Q&As with me once a month before they hit YouTube, because then they're really not live anymore on YouTube, if that makes sense. And also the patrons get to ask me anything questions before I go live, so I have a whole kind of database here that I can get to their questions. So again, if you want to join the community and be a part of our live Q&As, it happens every month, plus of course behind the scenes content, mini blogs, lots of polls, and you get all the episodes earlier than they appear on YouTube, and they're ad-free, which is always really nice as well. But to be fair, it's the most important thing is that I know so many of the patrons right now that are coming online. Like I feel like I know them, like Anna, Mary, Jean, Rebecca, sunny Northern California, Rebecca. We've had sun-ish today here in London. And we've got Lois here. Oh, good, Gail and Lois. So I've got a lot of the Alberta Research Project transcribers on as well, which is brilliant. Vicky's on as well. Shauna's on from a chilly Toronto. I think London must be somewhere in between Northern California temperature and chilly Toronto. It was about 18 degrees today. But gusts winds like up to 31 miles an hour. Well, sorry to be so exact. It's because that's what my app told me. And we've got Martin here. So many joining from our wonderful patron community, which is very exciting. So do say hi on the chat, because that's where I'm live on the YouTube chat. So if you are on the patron chat, just click the link, and then you'll be here and you'll see me live and you can chat to me live. So first and foremost, I just want to say, as always, a huge thank you to our founding member patrons. Some of you have been with me since we started this like 4 years ago, which is incredible and which is wonderful and so appreciative. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to say a huge thank you to Wise London, that's WYSE London, who is supporting me in the Historic House episodes and on American Countess YouTube channel in kitting me out with outfits. So here we go. Here are my trousers, which I absolutely love. And I thought I would give them a quick plug because they're awesome. And it's been a brand that I have been wearing for some time now. So I'm excited to then share this brand with you because they just started to ship worldwide, meaning that they ship to the United States and to Canada as well. Oh no, I'm getting some good chat here between Rebecca and Shauna, which is great. Tell Mark I said hi, Rebecca, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna dive right into the questions that patrons have asked me. And then I'm gonna dive into just some other stuff on like what's going on with the channel. There was a vlog that went out last night. Obviously the patrons got it earlier. There's a vlog that went out last night on my new antiques business, what is going on with me and my head. Of course, I'll talk about my dissertation because I think many of you watching might not have known what's happened with my dissertation. Some exciting news there. And yeah, and just really the path that this channel's continuing to take with Historic House episodes, but also where it's gonna be taken with more vlog stuff, because it's kind of like you asked for it, you've got it. So let's go to first, I'm gonna intersperse it with questions and then an update and then questions, if that makes sense. All right, we're gonna go to Jennifer Nash, who is an American Countess patron. And she asks, how does Julie film American Countess? Does she memorize what she shares, read some cue cards, text on a computer? I've always wondered this. So the answer is no. I don't memorize anything. I do some research beforehand, and Victoria, who's our series producer director, is wonderful in doing a lot of research beforehand and research on the house, the interiors, the architecture, the wider estate. But Victoria and I are meeting with the custodians or the owners and sometimes the curators or the archivists several Zooms before we go and actually film there. So we get a real, I think, foundation for us to build upon when I get there. And a lot of times, to be honest, when we are filming at these historic houses, sometimes the custodian or owner will mention a room or a picture or an piece of archive, and we're like, wait, what? We want to film that. Wait, what? There's an American connection. We want to film that. So sometimes, many times I would say, it shifts and we'll add in extra scenes. So even though we come with somewhat of a plan, it's very fluid. And I just have to make sure that I know as much as I can for the most part around the history of the house and the family. But then when I'm inside the house with the custodian, owner, archivist, curator, I am asking questions just that I want to ask. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We'll just get into a conversation and I just ask the questions. So I haven't done any research prior to that, if that makes sense. I've really just done research on the houses or the custodians themselves. So how much research? Well, what Victoria and I do is, again, we have these Zooms that we'll have 2 or 3 leading up to when we go and film. And then we will get a guidebook. So we usually ask for the house's guidebook, and that helps with a little bit of research. But again, it's really in collaboration with the owners on what they want to kind of showcase and talk about, because we can't cover everything when we're there. It'd be impossible. I mean, some of these houses, as you know, they have like 250 rooms. Like, you know, if I could just go into all 250 rooms, but that could take me a room a day, you know. So yes, there's a lot of prep with the house host ahead of time. Exactly. Yes, behind the scenes might be fun to see your filming process. So that's something that I'm definitely going to incorporate more of this year. And I've said that in the past. The difficulty is that when we're there, we are nonstop working. Like we don't even really take breaks. We don't even barely take a lunch break. We are literally constantly working. That doesn't mean we don't eat. We do, but it might be like eating on the go, or we're discussing what, you know, the next scene is, or something's come up and we want to shift gears. And so it's hard for me to then get that behind the scenes. But this year I'm going to try to remember to bring my tripod and just stick my iPhone on there so you guys can get some behind the scenes as well. So I hope that answers those questions, Jennifer. And yeah, Vicky's just said, I wish you could get a couple of dozen guidebooks from wherever you are, and then let us buy them from you. Oh, Cheryl, I knew Cheryl was on because I did see you come through, comment come through Patron. So hi, Cheryl. So nice to see you. And I know that, Cheryl, that you just had a meetup with Sally because she sent me a lovely photo of the two of you having dinner together. So, I mean, it's amazing, this Patron community, how so many of you have become such good friends, which I think is absolutely wonderful. And I love it, love it, love it, especially when we were in Alabama, just being able to see firsthand the friendships that were being fostered and the community that's really taken shape. So let me go on to the next question. Yeah, what I was going to say, Vicky, is I would love to take those back, but then it's a lot of, and then resell them. But the difficulty is that we have right now is, number one, postage to the United States or to Canada or anywhere else apart from the UK. You can tell I'm in London. There are sirens, like right there, is outrageous. It's just outrageous. And then secondly, most of the historic houses, if you go to their website, they will have an online shop that you should be able to buy a guidebook from. I don't know about their shipping policy, but do check it out. I would say if you're interested in a guidebook from a historic house, just Google it and you should be able to find one. Rebecca has asked, have you decided where you're going to put all your antique finds for your new market venture? Yeah, another renovation in the North Stable Block. That has been, I mean, that has to happen before my days are, before I'm gathered. So I still have a lot of time left, I hope, but until I'm gathered. So I think right now, I am going to put some bits in the coach house in that little corner there that's behind the admissions desk. And somebody on YouTube came up with a really good idea. And they said, and I hadn't thought of this before, but it's super clever, is that I have, of course, the table that I want to sell, and I have the bookcase. And why not start to put things on the bookcase and the table like that I could also sell? And I can hang the pictures on the wall inside of the coach house, the pictures that I bought, and stick them there. But the more I collect, the more little bits I can put on the bookcase, which can be sold, of course, and then the table, which I want to sell, but at least I can place things there. Speaking of that, I'm about to put a poll out on YouTube, but it will be after this is aired. So that's why I want to ask the patrons first. So if you are watching this on YouTube, I will put, by the time you're watching this, I will put a poll out, but the patrons get first crack at this. So here we are, everybody, those of you who are online. And these are the names of what I've kind of to call my new antiques business. So, and many of you came up with some great names, and I've kind of cut it down. I know what my favorite is, but I'm not going to tell you. So you're gonna have to put in the chat, patrons, which title you think, I guess title or name or what I should call my antiques business. Okay, number one, and this is in no particular order. Number one is Julie's Gems. Then we have, so I'll tell you when I finish, there's about 5. Julie's Gems or the Countess's Corner. Then we've got American Countess Collections. We have Countess Curations. We have Julie's Country House Antiques. And then we have the Curated Collection by the American Countess. So you could kind of play with those words. So again, I'll go through them again, then write down what you guys think. Julie's Gems, the Countess's Corner, Curated by the American Countess, Julie's Country House Antiques, American Countess Collections. Okay, there's a little bit more than 5. Countess Curations, and then the Curated Collection by the American Countess. I mean, I guess you could just have the Curated Collection, but I think people would want to know who it's from. Okay, what I'm going to do is going to take, come on through, everybody. Let me know what you think in the chat. Because I'm only going to, I think on YouTube, the way that the poll works, I can only do 4. So I need to narrow it down to 4. Lois, good question. Is postage to and from your Italian home cheaper? You mean like from between the UK and Italy? Yes, it is. But UK to US is like ridiculous. And you're right, Italy to the US, don't know, I think it's still very expensive, especially with all that's going on. I think everything's just inflated. Okay, so we have Curated Countess Collection, Countess's Collection. Okay, got a couple more. I'll give you guys this time to, I'll say it one more time. Are you like, write it down. So hold on, I've got to go back to it now. What did I do with it? Here we go. Julie's Gems, the Countess's Corner, Curated by the American Countess, Julie's Country House Antiques, might be a bit too long. Okay, I'm ruling that one out. American Countess Collections, Countess Curations, the Curated Collection by the American Countess. Okay, Curated by the Countess, you're right. Okay, Countess Collection, Countess Curations. Yeah, I think it's got to be simple as well. All right, we've narrowed it down to 2. The Countess Collection or Countess Curations, Curated by the Countess. Julie's Gems is up there as well. I think the issue with, it's like I have physical visitors coming into the coach house and they don't know who Julie is, then they might not, do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe I have to put like American Countess or Countess in. Anyway, to be discussed, let me know. All right, let's go back to the questions. Hold on. Jeffrey, did you not mention that you plan on reselling your antique treasure purchases from a newly created shop in the North Stable Block? Yes, I did. Perhaps combined, but I'll probably do it in the coach house first. It'll get more footfall. Perhaps combined, and then I have to renovate. Perhaps the North Stable Block. Perhaps combined with some on-display Hinchingbrook items like the 18th century dresses, historic family photos. Yes, the North Stable Block, our sort of vision for that is to create an exhibition space inside there so that we can kind of, in one sense, take back the library. And what I mean by that is that set it up so that it is what it is, a library. And so the public can go through and just tour that Rococo 18th century Georgian ceiling, the royal coat of arms on the overmantel there without being distracted with exhibition bits. So that is our plan, but that is a big project to renovate that. So, but as I was mentioning earlier in this broadcast, it's something that I'd like to do before I'm gathered. Okay, Vicky says, oh gosh, good timing on this question, when you publish the Mapperton coffee table book, will it have a family tree dating from the first Earl? I really enjoyed reading the information about the Earls that Luke and I posted, and would like to know about the Countesses. So we're definitely going to do that. And we did do that, I'm sure. Did Luke and I put that out on it might be on American Countess, but we can share that over with Mapperton Live, not a problem. But what I was going to say was, interesting that you've asked me that question about my Mapperton coffee table book, because I have been writing it all day today. It's a bank holiday here, and I think it must be Memorial Day in America tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a bank holiday, and I couldn't be happier because I needed to escape from Mapperton, because it was, if you've watched our latest video, patrons, those on YouTube, you'll get it next week. But patrons obviously always get it earlier, was the emergency, like 48 hours. Basically, what had happened was, of course, I have been living at the farmhouse. And for those of you who are new to this, we have just renovated a 4-bedroom farmhouse, and we were putting it up on all the platforms like booking.com, Vrbo, Airbnb, and we're using a platform called Lodgify. Luke, literally, I would say over the past 2 weeks, has spent his every waking hour working on Lodgify, Airbnb, Vrbo, booking.com. He's done it all. I don't know how he's done it because it's kind of complicated. Anyway, he gets it live. We were not expecting anybody to book, and within basically almost like an hour of him putting it live, we got 2 bookings. So I was like, what? Oh my God, we're not ready. So it was this just, Claire came, our estate manager, Luke and I were there. It was the little bits that take the longest. Does that make sense? I think everybody understands that. It's making sure you have like a spatula, and you have a kettle, and you have enough mugs, and you have to make all the beds. That took me, and it takes a long time. It's like you've got to put the mattress topper on, then the flat sheet, then you've got to put the duvet in the duvet cover. Then I put pillow protectors on each pillow. Then I put the pillowcases on. Then I've got to put the quilt on. That's like 7 things and then a cushion on the bed. That's like 7 things already. And this was for 6 single beds, 1 queen pullout, and 1 super king. That is a lot. And so while I was doing all of that, Claire and Luke were getting all the little bits ready. Did we have salt and pepper shakers? So point of that story was that I needed to, once they moved in, or they came in yesterday, I needed to come to London, because I then don't get pulled into things as much. I get pulled into things on like text and phone calls from London, which I'm fine with at Mapperton. But if I'm there, I'm usually then going into the cafe. So like yesterday's a perfect example. We had a wedding at Mapperton, and Luke and I were in London, and Holly called, and there was no hot water in the coach house, and we're in the middle of a wedding. And Luke was able, because he knows the whole system and it's all digitally, so he was able to actually get online with Holly and talk her through. He had to release some pressure in the system, and so he was able to talk her through on how to release the pressure in the system, and then the hot water came back. I mean, that is, Luke and I we are very hands-on. Like, we know the ins and outs of every platform that we have, and we've got a lot now, and just every system that we have. I mean, Luke last week was setting up phones in the office because we've had a couple people move desks, and so they needed to move their phones, so he was reprogramming phones. Luke has reprogrammed all of the point of sale systems in the coach house. That is him. He reprograms all of that, and he is tech guy. So all the Wi-Fi issues, when anybody comes in that's new or freelance at Mapperton, he sets up their entire laptops, sets up their whole email addresses. I don't think people realize that. That is, yeah, it's like a lot. So what I was saying was I needed to come back. I knew I'd get to my point. I needed to come back to London so I could write. So I've spent all day today, and my plan is to spend all day tomorrow writing, which I'm really, really pleased, because there's 4 kind of sections in the book. I can't say yet. I won't be able to really spill the beans until next year, but 4 sections in it, and I have finished pretty much finished one section. When I say finished, it's a draft, but it's a draft that will work. So I'm really pleased with that. And then Jessica, the photographer for the book, just sent me through her photos from our last photo shoot, which was about a month ago. So those just came through, and those will then go to the publisher. And so I have been like frantically writing that book. And so again, going back to your original question, Vicky, which has taken me 10 minutes to answer that, and I'm really sorry about that, is will it have a family tree? And it will. So that's it. So I was looking at one of the family trees today, and it's difficult with the family trees because do I go all the way back to William the Conqueror? I'm not so sure, right? I think that's a complicated process. I can, but that's like big. And that's a question for you guys, or do I just start with the first Earl? And there's a part of me that thinks I should just start with the first Earl. And I have a good reference for that, like a really good reference for that, to start with the first Earl and then get it down to basically Luke and I. I'm going to have to leave some people out. I can't have everybody's children's children, if that makes sense. So it'll be just sort of the first Earl and his children, then the second Earl and his children, third Earl, his children, or if it went sideways, fourth Earl children, fifth Earl children, and things like that. So that's how I'm going to have to do it in order to, I think, keep it nice and neat. Let me know what you think about that, you guys. That would be good to know. Okay. Sorry, Vicky, that took me 10 minutes. Right. Now we've got Penny, who said, I've shown the beautiful historical costumes that I found in the trunks, and there are some more. Just wondering if it might be something that could headline a Mapperton sandwich display that perhaps smaller museums might be interested in as a limited display, like the V&A. It's a really good question. And in order to help draw more visitors, I think Luke and I have really exhausted, I would say, and we're still exhausting every avenue of bringing in more physical visitors. I mean, if you look at the Alberta exhibition, like, I would have thought people would have been driving in their busloads to get to it, because what we've done is something extraordinary that no other historic house has done, and that is create this Alberta AI. And I have to say the exhibition is lovely and beautifully curated, but I spent a lot of time on that, and this wouldn't have been possible, of course, without the Alberta Research Project virtual volunteers, and so they're the brains behind it. But putting out the costumes, it's difficult because, again, that goes back to even the coronation robes. I had the coronation robes on display, and it didn't really affect our numbers at all. So I think the better way of that would be is if somebody like the V&A was interested in a display of 18th century dresses and wanted to take one of ours on loan, that would be extremely helpful. Now, I did have a conversation with them last year because they're putting on an exhibition soon about Marie Antoinette, and an annex to that, Marie Antoinette and her dresses, and her dress, I should say. And an annex to that is 19th century dresses that were adapted from 18th century dresses. And so they looked at the beautiful 18th century dress that we have, the one that is very colorful and bold in its colors and still retains a lot of its vibrancy. And they asked me if that 18th century dress had been adapted for 19th century wear, and it hadn't. And so that meant it couldn't come into their, or even be shortlisted for their exhibition because it needed to be adapted, and it wasn't. So that was a real shame. You know, I had a conversation with somebody at the National Portrait Gallery 2 weeks ago, and she is setting up a new exhibition. I can't say who because I can't, of an artist, and we have one of the artist's paintings. And so I had a really good conversation with her, and hopefully they're going to take that painting on loan, but it's in an exhibition in like 2028. I mean, that's how far in advance they plan. So fingers crossed, but again, you've got to look at the wear and the tear of the dress and just making sure if I were to put it out, would that really draw the numbers, and would it be worth it having it on a mannequin for 6 months? I'm not sure because of the wear and tear that would happen with it. Anyway, something to definitely think about. Okay, we have, let's see. Oh, this is so nice. How did the low doorway issue get sorted? Okay, we just left it. I was not about to let him put that awful Velcro-y, whatever it was, bumper tape on it. That did not, that was not going to work. Yes, there is a way we could, you know, interesting about where we should start with the family tree. Vicky's mentioned first Earl, but then Jean's also said he could go with the king. So that was Edward II. Is that right? God, or is it Richard II? Don't quote me on this, but I know from our, it's either Edward. I think it's Edward, everybody. That's my gut. So I could be wrong. I'm going to go look in that archive room when I'm back at Mapperton tomorrow. But anyway, we could go back to there to show that we have royal lineage. Good point there. Or I could just mention it. Yes, it'll be interesting to see what I decide to do. I've got to work it out. Okay, so now let's go back to questions, and we have Anna's asked. We've got 3 more questions from patrons. How has your responsibilities changed since you're now Countess? I wouldn't say that I necessarily feel that anything has changed as far as what I'm doing day to day at Mapperton, but I have taken on more responsibility. So in particular, the gardens. So I am starting to manage more of the gardens, and by September, that management handover is happening. So I will be managing the gardens like on my own, if you like, from September. But right now there's sort of a transition period. And I'm really, really excited about that, but I'm also a bit daunted I'm finding it a bit daunting because I don't know anything about gardens. And writing the book actually has helped me because there's sections within the sections, or I should say chapters within the sections about the gardens. And I've had to go back and do a lot of research on I would say, in one sense, the structure and the architecture of the gardens. And for example, the statues that are in the gardens that come from Ethel Labouchere, and a lot of the history around the orangery and the gate. So I'm doing a lot of that right now, which I think will help me when I start my gardening course. That's right. In September. I cannot wait. So I'm doing a gardening course, and it's going to last the whole year. And I'm really, really excited for that to start. In fact, I'm just chuffed. So I think that's going to help me as well. And of course, I have Susie, head gardener, who is completely hands-on and super supportive. But what I don't want to do is rely solely on Susie. I want to be able to have some type of knowledge and a bit of a platform in order for me to start managing these gardens. So I am really excited about that. And then, of course, there's the kitchen garden. So this is my first year, this is my first year, not even kind of, this is my first year going full force into the kitchen garden. And this year I've planted sweet peas, broad beans, onions, carrots, lots of different types of salad. Rocket, I've almost finished. It's delicious, but lots of different types of salad. I'm sure I'm missing something else. Anyway, it'll come to me. But I do have a bigger plan for the kitchen garden, like a much bigger plan. I'm talking bigger plan, and extending it out and in one sense, almost rebuilding the whole kitchen garden. Now, that won't be able to happen for, I probably won't start that project until a year from now, maybe this time next year, or maybe autumn 2026. But that is something I'm really excited about because I want to have a whole cutting flower garden within the kitchen garden. And then I want to really go for it with the fruit and veg. But it needs to be, just have a whole rethink and rebuild. So I'm excited about that. I've got a couple books on that as well. That will be my next big project. Okay, and then last question is, are you planning to go to America to have a conference regarding Alberta and her history? Well, I think once my book as in the book I'm writing right now, the Mapperton coffee table book, is finished and launched, which will be September 2026, I will start to plan things around then. I think for me that makes more sense. Of course, I can talk about Alberta as well, but I think a lot of times when you go and speak at these places, they also like it if you come with bags in tow of your book, and people can get a signed copy. So that's my plan with that. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to do something in 2025. Absolutely. That is, if I can get a speaking event going and I'm looking at one in Delaware in 2025, or even, I'm looking at one this year, possibly might happen September 2024, then I would be keen on that. So we are rejigging right now my juliemontague.com website. So that's going to be more speaker and historian focused, because now I have my master's, which if you're tuning in for the first time, I nearly fell off my perch about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, when I received the email. I mean, it was crazy when you received the email. I'll tell you where I was. I don't know if I said this in another episode, but we were at, every Wednesday at Mapperton, we have a Mapperton staff meeting. And it's every Wednesday at 9:30, and Luke and I lead it. And at the end of the staff meeting, we were just kind of all getting up, and I just looked through my emails and it had gone through. So everybody had stood up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I read it, and it's like, I have it flagged. I'm going to print it out, all that stuff. And when it said with distinction, in fact, I'll read it for you guys. It's crazy. I kept like reading it over and over again, because it was just like really, really exciting. Hold on. Let's see. Wait 1 second. Now I can't find it. It's probably because I flagged it. Hold on, everybody. Wait. So it was, I know what day I received it. Maybe it went into, that's so weird. Hold on. 1 second. Look at me. I'm like nervous finding it again. Oh, here, I got it. Yeah. Sorry, it was in a different box. So basically it said, Dear Julie, I refer to the recent assessment of your thesis, and I am pleased to confirm you have satisfied the examiners, and Senate, with a capital S, has accepted their recommendation that you be awarded the following. And then it says MA Country House Studies distinction. Ooh! And then it says graduation ceremonies are taking place in Buckingham in spring 2026. So I will be heading to that. I don't know when, but next year I am going to my graduation. And then my certificates can be posted to Mapperton within the next 4 weeks. So that's very exciting. So I should be getting it quite soon because this was on the 14th of May. So yes, very, very excited. I'm glad I found that email again. I'm going to print that out. But yeah, when that happened, then Luke was standing up there. It's like, it's amazing how you remember these profound moments. Luke was standing up and I just said, Luke, I have to show you something. And then he turned around, he looked, and then I just like cried in his arms and he was so happy. I can still cry about it, I can't believe I got distinction. I mean, I wanted to pass. I mean, I figured I would pass. I mean, would hope so. And then I thought, well, when my course tutor had emailed me saying I had passed with flying colors, I thought, well, I've got a merit. That's what I thought. So anyway, so yes, that's my story about getting the distinction, which is very, very exciting. And yeah, definitely, Vicky, the copies of the book will absolutely be available to purchase. Absolutely. And so then, yeah, there's gonna be no tape on the door frame. Anyway, Sally, you're gonna watch later. You're going to a family party. I know it's Memorial Day weekend, so amazing. Thank you, Shona. And Lois has asked, Gail and Lois have asked, do I have a group of friends that are countesses as well to just share ideas with? I mean, I know several. And yeah, when I see them, we always have a good chat. And that's usually, though, when I'm visiting them filming for American Countess at their historic house. So one of the houses we'll be visiting this year, which patrons you'll find out very, very soon, is home to an Earl and Countess. And I'm sure we'll have a really good chat then. So definitely. Anyway, okay. I just want to say thank you to all the patrons. And for those of you who are watching this later on YouTube, if you want to become part of this amazing group, do check it out, patreon.com/American Viscountess, because I can't change Patreon to American Countess. Like literally you can't do it. It doesn't allow you to do it. So I have to keep it as American Viscountess for like the rest of my life. If I don't do that, I have to like I'd have to reset up everything and you just basically start from scratch. They can't like change it over. Anyway, it's fine. It's where it all began. So it will remind me always of where it all began. So if you're interested in becoming a founding member, do check it out. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who joined me today. Happy Memorial Day weekend for those of you in the States. Happy Bank Holiday for those of you in the UK and Canada. Canadians, are you guys celebrating anything? Or anybody else around the world? What's happening tomorrow? Do you have a bank holiday? If so, enjoy it. I am now going to change out of this outfit from Wise, and the sun is out, and I'm going to get my running kit on, and yeah, and I'm gonna go for a good probably 6K run this evening because the sun doesn't set here until about 9:15. Anyway, thanks Rebecca, thanks Anna, thanks everybody on here. Have Martin, Shona, Victoria Day last Monday, Canadians, there you go. Have a wonderful, wonderful long weekend for those of you who are enjoying it. And I will see you guys all very, very soon. Bye.